Good morning, my East End Baptist Church family, and welcome to the 45th edition of our Words for the Moment. It is our prayer that these words of the moment would provide you a sense of encouragement as we continue in this season of pandemic and recovery. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's been over 5 months now since the middle of March that we have been going through this season, and it's been going beyond my wildest imagination that this would be our 45th words for the moment. But before we get into this 45th words for the moment, I just want to remind my East End Baptist Church family of our church conference Zoom chat, which is going to be taking place today. One will be at 12 noon and one will be at 7, and that's an opportunity for us to stay connected, for me to hear from you and for you to hear from me, so that we can prepare our hearts and minds what God has in store for us for this fall season. And speaking of this fall season, it really relates to this 45th words for the moment as I bring you a sense of encouragement. And don't click off now when I say this, but this 45th word for the moment cannot go by without us talking about 45. Without us talking about 45, and all of us know who 45 is as we enter into this fall season, as we enter into this political season. As well as you know, these last 4 years has really revealed what America is all about. Is really begin to uncover some deep seated things that we knew that existed, but is now beginning to come to the surface. And I don't know about you, I would rather for it to come to the surface for us to know what we're dealing with. And we know that America was built on a Christian foundation, and many of you know that America is touted as a Christian country. And so we want to make sure that we're still one under God, that we still allow our Christian faith to prevail, even as we have gone through these last 4 years of 45, starting with Colin Kaepernick as he was taking the knee to the flag, and also most recently George Floyd, as we continue to deal with the racism that is taking place around our nation and around our world. But we're still in a season of pandemic. We're still in a season of recovery. We're still in a season of really not knowing. School is beginning to start, and also the election is right around the corner. So for this 45th edition, as we really talk about the political season and what has taken place over the last 4 years under 45, I want to call your attention to the book of Exodus chapter 4. This is God talking to Moses. God had ordained Moses to go and set his people free. But Moses was a little apprehensive because he didn't really have confidence in who he was. And so he began to kind of, as God was telling him what he needed him to do, Moses began to become insecure in his own abilities. But how many of you know that we can be insecure in our own abilities as long as we are secure in God's ability? And so we find it here in Exodus chapter 4. Just going to read for you verses 1 and 2. Moses answered, "If they won't believe me and will not obey me, but say the Lord did not appear to you," the Lord asked him, "What is that in your hands?" And Moses said, "A staff." You see, in this situation and circumstances, God had given Moses a divine assignment, and Moses was very insecure in his abilities of carrying out that assignment. So he began to make excuses, similar to sometimes when we make excuses, and began to say, what if the people don't believe me? What if they won't obey me? What if they believe that you didn't send me? What if they believe that you didn't actually appear to me and tell me what I'm telling you that that you told me? And so God tells Moses, "What is that in your hand?" And Moses said, "A staff." You see, Moses came to that situation and circumstance with a staff in his hand. It provided him stability as he walked. It provided him protection as we know that he was taking care of his father-in-law's flock on the backside of the mountain. It was a way for him to travel, as in terms of making sure that he can climb the different cliffs and mountains and so on and so forth. And so God was telling Moses, look, I'm going to empower you with what's in your hands. So as I think about what has taken place over the last 4 years in terms of 45, and as I think about looking ahead into this political season, I just want to encourage you, there is power in your hands. There is power in your hand, and that power in your hand is for you to cast your vote. If you don't like what has been going on, if you want to see some change taking place in this country and also around this world, you can make the change just by the power that you have in your hand. One of the things that we have in our hands, we have the Word of God in our hands. This is our rod and our staff that comforts us every day of our lives. We have the Word of God in our hand. That's our modern day staff in order to protect us against the enemy, and in order to give us stability in our lives, in order for us to make those hard climbs in our lives. And so I know there's been a lot of debate about how voting is going to take place, but I just want to encourage you, however voting is going to take place, please, please, please use the power that's in your hand in order to cast your vote. If you want to see a difference in this country, if you want to see a difference around the world. This past Sunday, we were talking about freedom and how if you want to be free, we have to set ourselves free. And one of the things we talked about was letting go and letting God. And we talked about that this letting go and letting God is not only a transformation of our hearts, but a transformation of our hands. In other words, there's things that we are holding on to. There's things that we are clenching to. There's things that we need to just open our hands and release and give it back to God. And I just want you to know there is power in the hands. God revealed to me late Sunday evening after I had preached that sermon something else that related to this idea of hands, and as it relates to what Moses is talking about here, as it relates to what God told him about the staff in his hand, and as it relates to what we're dealing with as we enter into this political season, as we talk about this Words of Encouragement 45, and as we talk about dealing with 45. And so what the Lord revealed to me is this in terms of what's in your hand. And listen to this. I would rather have a real dime in my hand rather than a counterfeit $100 bill. Let me repeat that. In terms of what's in your hands, I would rather have a real dime in my hand rather than having a counterfeit $100 bill. You see, when you have a counterfeit $100 bill in your hand, you can't do anything with it. The only thing you can do is show it off as if it was real. But when you really try to do a transaction with that counterfeit $100 bill, everything is going to be revealed that this $100 bill is fake. Now, for me, I would rather have a real dime. And I know many of you might be saying that's just a little small thing. It's not going to get you very far. But look, at least it is real. And that's what God is trying to tell Moses. I know this staff may not seem of value to you, but at least this staff is real. It has protected you in the past. It gives you stability in the present, and it's going to help you do some miraculous acts in the future. Because I don't know about you, with this real dime in my hand, if God can bless that dime, miracles will happen. And so what we need to do is make sure that we understand what is in our hands and making sure that what's in our hands is real. It may be one little friend in your hand. Just make sure it's real. It may be one little talent in your hand, but just make sure it's real. It may be even one little word that you may want to say, but just make sure it is real. We are not here for show. We are here to be real. And what's real in this season is your real voice and your real vote come this November. We hope and pray that these words of encouragement, these words for the moment has been helpful for you as God is telling Moses, what is that in your hands? And Moses said, a staff. And I would ask you, what is that in your hand? We're not here for counterfeit. We're here to be real, because I would rather have a real dime in my hand that can spend, that can be used, versus having a counterfeit $100 bill that's only for show. God bless you, and we hope and pray that you have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you very, very soon. God bless you.